Mission First Tactical is the official tactical accessories provider for the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for an exclusive 20% discount on all orders.
Hey, Leadheads. Welcome back to another episode of the Talking Lead podcast. I'm your host, Lefty, where we are bringing you the Leducation, baby. 2012 is when we started. 2012. 2012. 13 years of educating the uneducated. And I'm going to be a little off today, guys, because I haven't had any sleep for a while. So I may be farting around, but I got a great backup crew here to keep me on track and keep everything going. And with that said, this guy has shot more guns than Obama deported illegal aliens during his term, which he did. He did a lot, which people don't know. I think he did more than like any president in the last 15, 20 years, something like that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's the fabulous, you know him, you love him, Andre Dalou. Andre, welcome in.
Thank you. Great to be here with these guys.
Yeah, it's great for you to join us. And this topic that we're going to be talking about today was kind of your idea. We were hashing out some topics that we wanted to talk about, and this kind of came up. And I thought it's been a while since we've really touched on it and really got specific with it. And that's what we're going to do today. And it's basically, why do you need firearms training? You know, what's the purpose in getting firearms training, and what justifies or constitutes good training?
Yeah.
So that, among other things, we're going to get into. And we have invited our friends from Warhorse Ballistics to join us to go down this rabbit hole. If you've not listened to our previous episodes where these guys have been on, make sure you go back, check them out. I think this is Danny's third episode. Is this your third one, Danny?
Second or third, yeah.
Yeah. Danny Amerson, ladies and gentlemen. So give Danny a big warm welcome back in.
Yeah, glad to be back.
And Brent, is this your first?
This will be my first.
And new guy.
FNG, man.
Brent Allred, and these guys are based out of here in Middle Tennessee, up around the Nashville area. Got a great training facility up there, and they do some really good training. So we're gonna deep dive into their heads and pull out some golden nuggets for you lead heads. And I didn't do a questions post to this one because I just didn't have time. So if you have questions at the end of this, and we didn't cover maybe some things you wanted to talk about, email me, talkinglead@gmail.com. And if you're watching the video, I'm going to be popping up like discount codes and websites and things like that throughout the show. So if you're just listening, you may miss out on some of the stuff that I pop up on the screen. There's the email address right there. But if you didn't get an opportunity, also go make sure you go back to my warm-up session to get back into the swing of things, because I took a few weeks off, and we discussed what I was doing during that time, getting my armed personal protection license, and I've been doing some work with these two guys down here too.
Oh, yeah.
We're probably going to do some shows on that coming up, and Danny and Brent have taken on Bear Creek Arsenal, doing some T&E with some of their stuff. So we're going to be talking about that in some upcoming episodes. Now you guys you're going to take it to a competition, right?
We are hopefully taking a few of their rifles to competition. I've got that 6-arc bolt action upper that I'm still kind of working on. I shot it a little bit yesterday. Man, that thing's good.
Did you get some glass on there that's usable?
I did finally. Yeah, I got some decent glass on there, but we're looking at a a 308 gas gun from them, and I've got a 20-inch 223 from them that we're hopefully going to take to the Mammoth Sniper Challenge this coming year.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Is that Kentucky? Is that where that is?
There's one in Virginia, and they're doing 2 events per year now. There's one in Virginia and there's one in Arkansas.
Arkansas. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where. Which one are you guys going to go to?
I think we're going to do Arkansas just because I feel like Virginia would be pretty cold in January. Arkansas is not going to be much better, but
I mean, I'll take that cold right now because it's like 105 with 300% humidity here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you guys are not familiar with the Mammoth Sniper Challenge, it's a very interesting event because it's getting into some long range marksmanship skills along with a lot of physical fitness attributes. Is it 36 miles, Danny?
Roughly, yeah, over 3 days. 36
miles, 3 days that you're humping gear across wood line and doing scenario shooting. So it's a very exciting event. As he is saying, we hit Bear Creek up to build us a precision 308 rifle to take to this event, and they've agreed to do so. So we're excited.
Works, right?
See how it turns out.
Yeah.
So this is it. So for those, again, if you're watching the video, I pulled up the Mammoth Sniper Challenge, America's premier endurance team sniper competition where precision and marksmanship meets extreme physical demand. So this is like a Tough Mudder shooting kind of deal, huh?
Kind of, yeah.
Think of a cross between a PRS match and a Spartan race.
Oh shit!
Yeah, you pack all your stuff with you each day to and from the range. That's where the ruck marches come in. You pack all your sleeping stuff. You're sleeping at the range, every night. You're walking to and from. You got to pack, all your stuff you need to take with you for 3 days. Everything except water is the only thing they provide.
Okay, so this says over the course of 72 continuous hours, 2-person teams ruck more than 35 miles across rugged terrain with no resupply. Now I can see why you don't want to do it in Virginia during the summer there. Facing 12 times shooting stages that test tactical skill, mental toughness, and survival under pressure. Held twice a year, Mammoth isn't just a match. It's a crucible for warriors. Only the prepared endure. Oh, look, they got like robot things.
Oh, yeah. So those are cool. Those are marathon targets. They're remote controlled, and they have to be hit 2 or 3 times, depending on the setting, before they fall down.
Okay. Andre, have you heard of this? I've heard of it, but I've never really gotten to any links to research.
I've heard some people went there and they said it was a tremendous challenge. It really was demanding. They went there and they were surprised exactly how tough it was, because it wasn't like a regular competition where you kind of like shoot and relax. And if it's too hot, you go into the shade. This was actual tough. This is more like ranger training.
100%.
Yeah. So it says the Mammoth 60% of you won't make it. 3 days, no sleep, no help, no mercy. You carry your gear, your rifle, and your regrets. And if you're lucky, you finish. If you're not, you get the walk of shame. This is a test of grit, discipline, and pain tolerance.
I think they average, they cap it out at 100 2-man teams, and I think they average about 40 or 45 teams finish in all 3 days.
Wow.
And this is open to everybody. This isn't just LE military.
Yeah. It's open, and there's a special invite competition too that they do separately. I think that's something that we're not privy to, but the 2 that are open to anybody. And there's been the last 2 years, it's the same team that's won consecutively. So we're hoping to take them down this year.
So you're gunning for the top spot, huh?
Hey, if you ain't first, you're last, something like that, right?
What are you doing? What are you doing to prepare for this?
A lot of rucking, 50 pounds or so. I mean, you've seen the hills at the farm. That's kind of our go-to training facility.
Yeah.
That hill we were shooting off of when we were there last is kind of the one that's going to get us where we
Now,
need
if y'all
to be.
can make it up that one that's across over there, with the power lines going up it.
Yep.
If you guys can make it up that with your gear, then you're going to win.
So here's kind of our approach that we've been doing with that. Of course, you're familiar with our long range shooting site there. We're humping down the hill with our gear, setting up the targets, humping back up the gear, taking our shots, humping back down the hill, resetting targets, humping back up the hill, taking our shots. So that's kind of how we're prepping for this. And of course, with our different backgrounds, with law enforcement backgrounds, military backgrounds, and then our training that we do just initially with Tennessee Rangers, this is kind of our bread and butter, because it's all about shooting under exhaustion, high stress. It's just that extreme dedication and motivation.
Any water on these courses? Do you have to like go through any lakes, ponds, streams, anything like that?
Not that I know of. I think it's pretty much road marches.
Yeah, for the most part, it's just road marches and just rough terrain.
No floating platforms that you shoot from?
There might be this year. They change it up every time, so it gets a little more difficult with each shooting stage they put together.
Yeah, they throw some wrenches in the gearbox.
That sounds like something I might need to be a third on, just to document. You think they would allow that?
I'm sure they would. Those guys from
Vortex
and Sierra, they both had teams out, and they had camera guys with them the whole time.
Maybe we borrow one of their camera guys.
Yeah.
Maybe be generous enough to do that. But yeah, so that's going to be cool, and that's definitely something that, whether I go or not, we're going to have you guys back on. We're going to talk about that.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you'll probably make some friends while you're there. Maybe we can grab them and get them on too. But yeah. So that'll be cool. That'll be real cool.
Yeah,
so
we're excited about
when
that.
is the one in Arkansas? Let me look and see.
So they don't release the dates until registration opens, and that's this coming month. But it's usually in January.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
So
why
you got a
I
little
go
bit
to
of
Virginia.
time to prepare for that.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Do they give you a list of like equipment and stuff like that you'll need, or do you just?
They pretty much leave it to you. There are some suggested packing lists online that I found from past competitors, and rough estimate round counts. But they give you the shooting stages and kind of let you build your own stuff, like whatever you need to.
Yeah, it's very basic parameters. Their list that they put out for the competition is just basically, hey, here's what you're required to have, here's what you can have, and then the rest of it's based upon the team to
what you're willing to carry.
Yeah, how much weight you're willing to carry.
Gotcha. Ooh, I'm looking at the registration things here. There's one that's it's $950. What the hell's all that?
So the earlier you register, the cheaper it is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because it's got like Sniper Challenge 1, Sniper Challenge 2. What's Chaffee and Pickett? Is that where they are?
Pickett's in Virginia and Chaffee's in Arkansas.
Chaffee's in Arkansas.
That's the locations.
Yeah, they'll be on active military installations.
Okay.
Yeah,
so there's a Challenge 1 and a Challenge 2.
Yeah, that's the two events over the year. The Arkansas one, I believe, is a little bit cheaper. I think it's like $650.
Pickett, Chaffee. These are $300 right here.
Yeah, that's the pre-registration.
That's the pre-registration.
So $300 pre-register, that goes towards your $650 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's per team.
Oh, okay, not per person.
Right.
No, that's per two-man team.
I got you. Cool. Well, there you go. So if we got any listeners that are interested in this, you got time if you want to start training up and compete against Danny and Brent.
Yeah, what kind of guns are you going to bring along?
So the only requirement is one of us, probably the secondary shooter, has to either have a 5.56 or 7.62 rifle. It doesn't matter if it's gas or bolt. So we're still kind of deciding what we want to do. I've got a really good 20-inch 5.56 from Bear Creek that we might do, and that 308 they're going to send us. If not, I'll probably get another 6 arc upper and do 6 arc and 308.
Nice. Any pistol targets?
Yeah, so there's pistol and rifle. I think pistol goes out to like 50 yards, and rifle goes from around 100 to around 1,000.
Any restrictions on sights? Can you use red dots or optics or what?
Yeah, it's pretty much an open class pistol as long as it's 9mm or higher.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, there's guys with full on like PRS rifle builds and custom Glocks that go shoot, and then there's guys with their 18, 20-inch ARs and store-bought Glocks that still do pretty well.
I'm sure after about a day and a half that the idea of carrying around a lot of stuff is probably has lost its charm. They're probably ditching their gear as much as they can unless they really need it.
So one of the main rules is whatever you come with, you leave with. So if you
Really?
ditch anything, you're out.
No
yeah, if
kidding.
you,
They'll
if you
drop
got
it.
unsecure equipment, it's over with.
Ah,
Yeah.
so you really, if there's something that you said I shouldn't brought along, you carry it anyway.
Right. So like if I'm
Regrets.
carrying
That's like that. Yeah, and you carry your regrets.
and your regrets too. So one day if I'm carrying the regrets, Brent's going to carry the tripod, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
that's
So, is it speed and accuracy?
So the rough marches are timed, and there's a minimum time limit, and anything under that time gets added to your score. So the faster, the better, essentially. And
Yeah.
I want to say it's
Do they tell you what the limits are? Or
they will.
They don't.
Yeah, I think it's 15-minute miles,
Okay.
and it's usually about 5 miles at a time. And then your shooting stages are timed, and you have a round count. So like a minimum round count. Your misses count against you on some of them, and then they're all timed.
Cool.
Yeah. So the faster that you're humping these road marches, the faster that you're engaging targets, the faster you can perform, the better it's going to be on your overall score.
Yeah.
Also, though, you've got to keep in mind that we're doing this for 72 hours continuously, so we've got to pace
Now, does
ourselves.
that mean you're going to bring along night vision?
No, so you're usually back at the little camp area before the sun goes down, and then you get up, 4:30, 5 the next morning and hit the road again.
Okay.
Did they like cut it off at sundown? It's like, all right, no more shooting.
From what I understand, there's not any low light shooting.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Cool.
Them big
That's
whack
gonna be
on the range.
interesting as hell. I'm looking forward to hearing about all this and maybe even attending. We'll
Yeah, we're really excited about it. If you can't tell,
Wow, that's going to be cool.
see. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the idea of getting in shape for that is like phenomenal.
yeah, I already hate it.
I imagine so.
We
You've
were
gotta get
literally just
the
having
right-
this discussion.
You're going to be
No,
a better person for it, Danny.
I don't.
Yeah,
really-
that means you got to get the perfect boots, the right clothes. I mean, that everything's got to work.
Yeah, Brent actually sent me a message about training at the farm the other day. He said, we could carry all our stuff down the hill, set up the targets, and carry it back up the hill. I said, that's a great idea. I hate it.
Let's
And
try
of course, we're both running around with bummed backs, blown out knees, everything else from the years of stuff that we've done previously. So it's like,
yeah.
okay, well, we'll just add to it and push through it. We're used to this. So
Yeah. Yeah, ibuprofen. You need carry about 100 pounds of that with you, probably.
Oh, I've got a 500 count bottle ready to go.
Yeah,
Jeez.
no doubt. And your testosterone shots.
hmm
Wow.
Concealed carry has just spread like crazy. Sales of handguns to women, they are probably the largest growing sector of individuals to purchase firearms.
At Mission First Tactical, we're going to develop everyday carry products that allow people to comfortably, safely, discreetly carry their firearms to be responsible for their own safety. There's a vastly underserved market that's been growing, and that involves females. As you know, body shapes are different. Recently, we've developed the most comfortable, one of the safest belly bands on the market. A female body shape should not have to conform to product design for a male body shape.
Mission First Tactical is the official tactical accessories provider for the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for an exclusive 20% discount on all orders.
All right, well, cool. So more to come on that, lead heads. And then also, if you didn't listen to the last episode, we've got new swag that we are putting out there with 9-3 Tactical. He's doing patches, plates, tumblers, and some other stuff to come. But this is to help raise money for the show, because I'm trying to wean myself from sponsors and advertisers, and we're still going to have them, but I just don't want to be solely reliable on them, and I want more input from you listeners. So if you guys are supporting the show through buying our merch, then I'm going to be more apt and open to listen to your suggestions of guests, topics, whatever that may be. And then also, just to give you a heads up, we're going to be switching to like a Patreon account, and all our giveaways, all the discount codes, you're going to have to be a member to take advantage of all that. So I'm just giving you fair warning what's coming. So if you want the show to continue, then I need your support from the Leadhead Brigade. I need your
Well,
contribution.
Lefty, let me tell you, I went looking for some of the stuff that you had, because I really want one of those 3x5 or 2x3 patches,
Yeah.
talking lead patches.
Yeah.
Because I want it for my hat so I could wear it on the show, or a shirt. But it's got to be 2x3 and got to have a Velcro back. So I'm still looking for that. I couldn't find a way to order it online, so I'm still going to be looking.
Yeah. So if you follow directions,
I don't know about that.
I'm Free Tactical, and you PM him and tell him what you want or ask what's available, and he will take your order right there. He'll tell you how to pay. He doesn't have a website set up yet. Or you can send me a message. You can email me, talkingled@gmail.com. If you don't have Instagram or something like that, email me, talkingled@gmail.com. If you want patches, you want tumblers, you want license plates. I mean, I can still do shirts. I'm just in the process of trying to transition my shirts over. So we had a lot of changes, a lot of things that we're working on, but it's coming. But Andre, if you want those, you just let me know, and we'll make sure you get those.
Those look sharp. I like the idea of a nice leather patch, talking lead. I was trying to get one offline, trying to take a picture off my computer so I could go ahead and get it replicated. And it just wasn't.
Oh, so you're going to bootleg?
Yeah, I was going to, one way or the other. I was going to show you this patch and what you go.
You're going to be like those assholes who pirate movies and shit. Okay. And the artists don't get the money for it.
So I'd much rather buy it through you, dude.
Well, I appreciate that, and you know that you don't have to do that. I'll send you patches. So take care of my buds. But yes, so I just want to throw that out there. So go to our Instagram page. We've got pictures there. Watch the last episode. I've got pictures and stuff there too. I'll probably flash them up during this episode eventually. But I want to throw that out before we get into the main topic. But we haven't done this in a while either, is Gunny and the jackwagon train. So Gunny, bring that train in, because I've got at least one jackwagon that I got to get off my chest before we get started.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the Talking Lead Jackwagon of the Week, so brace yourself, baby.
Brace yourself, because it's coming. I'm going to unload. I wish I had Ton on here too, because he'd back me up on this. But I'm sure you guys will help out and back me up on it too. So,
they're actually with the Jackwagon Award.
What's that?
That I was working with Arlie, who's a friend, and we're working at a Glock event. And the probably the only one ever awarded. He actually had a trophy, a Jackwagon trophy that one guy got for being the worst. And I bet that's more important, more valuable now than any of the other first place or second, third, or fourth awards ever got. But that one and only Jackwagon Award that Arlie Erman gave that one guy, I love to get my hands on that one.
Yeah, well, he recommended that we send the people that win our Jackwagons like a placard or something like that, congratulating them on being Jackwagons. But there's so many. I mean, I would go broke doing that. But yeah, this is all thanks to Gunny, the Jackwagon train. It was inspired by him, and then you heard in the intro, he was down with it. He loved the idea of what we were doing, and he offered to do that intro for us.
That's cool.
And there you have it. History was made. But yeah, super great guy. I missed the Gunny.
Yeah, such a great guy, man. Extremely missed.
Yeah. All right, so my Jackwagon, and you guys can do your Jackwagons if you feel so led after I do this. But I told you I've not had a lot of sleep the last couple of days, and I've been trying to time everything, in a timely manner where I can go here and get this done, go here, get this done. Well, I needed new tires for the lead sled, and I had gone in prior to this establishment. I'm not going to say the establishment's name yet, but I had it prearranged. I come in at 8:00. They're going to get right to me. It's only going to take, an hour or so, hour and a half, maybe at most. And getting an alignment and an oil change. And I already told them what tires I wanted, everything. So I'm walking in this morning thinking I've got everything laid out. I'm going to get in and out of there in, an hour and a half tops, and be able to get some sleep before I record, this recording today, which we started at 1. So I was only at a couple hours, but at least I would have gotten some. So anyway, I get there and the guy's computer's down. There's already a line of people waiting. I wasn't the first to get there. So he finally decides that, people who have already got appointments and whatnot, he can go ahead and start, working them in and doing their stuff. So finally gets to me after about 30 minutes and he's like, okay, I see I got your account here and, you want 4 tires, alignment, oil change. I'm like, yeah. So I'm all set. He goes, okay. So I drop off the keys and like 2 hours later, I'm still waiting. Car is still up on the racks and, I didn't say anything. I'm just patient. I'm out drinking my water, checking messages, doing a little research for the show. And after about 2.5 hours, he comes out. He goes, it's ready. We're pulling it out. You can come up and go ahead and pay. So I go up and he says it'll be X amount of dollars. And I'm like, that's not the price I was quoted the other day when I got all this set up. It was like triple what I was quoted. And he's like, well, he goes, you wanted the blah, blah, blah tires, right? And I was like, no, I wanted the cheaper tires because I'm a broke. He's like, oh, he goes, well, it's got here in the notes. And by this time his computer's back up that you wanted these specific tires. But in fairness, the girl that I was working with that day, we discussed several different kind of tires. But before I left, I thought it was perfectly clear that I wanted the cheap tires. But she put down the most expensive tires. And that's what they put on my car. After 2.5 hours I've been waiting. And it's already rolled out. It's got them on there. And to give the dude credit, he's like, well, he goes, if you want those, I'll give them to you at our cost, which was a phenomenal deal. Still, it was a great deal, and I probably should. I'm kicking myself in the ass now. I probably should have done it, but again, I'm broke, so I was like, no, that's really not my budget. It's still over my budget. And I was like, if you could do it for this price, I could do it. And he just kind of laughed. And he goes, we'll take them off and put the other ones on. I'm like, well, how long is that going to take? He goes, we'll get you right in. I'll get extra people on it. So another hour goes by. They get those tires on and rolls it out. And I'm, I go and look, I'm ready to pay again. I was like, okay, great, good deal. Price is right now. All that. I was like, so you got the alignment, got the oil change, and he goes, no. He said, you didn't say you wanted an oil change. I was like, I certainly did say I wanted an oil change. He goes, well, you get a free coupon for a free oil change. I was like, well, but I wanted it done today with all this other stuff because I needed an oil change. It's been a minute, and I've been driving a lot lately, so I was like, I need the oil change. So pull it back in, and then another hour later, they get the oil change done, and then I'm out of there. So I don't know where the breakdown in communication happened, but I thought I was perfectly clear from the previous couple of days that I went in exactly what I wanted, and somehow it got fucked up like that. So I'm not saying they're jack wagons, but they're jack wagons because they didn't fucking listen.
Attention to detail.
Attention to detail, exactly. Right. I didn't lose my cool though, which I think probably because I'm so tired. They got off easy.
There's only one of two ways that goes after working all night. Either they're going to get it or it's going to be real quiet.
Yeah.
But needless to say, I got back just in time for this recording. So I didn't get a little cat nap, a little combat nap. But those people, I'm not going to say the name of the establishment yet because they weren't dicks either. They weren't dicks about it. They were nice and trying to accommodate, and him offering me that price on those tires was like above and beyond. And I was like, I still kicking myself. I should have done it.
Well, at the end of the day, too, you ended up with the new tires, the oil change, and the alignment, right?
Right. At the discounted price.
The discounted price.
Yeah. So
Just out the time and the hassle. So
right. I took advantage of that corporate account that we set up for SAPs and Tennessee Rangers. So it works. It's just, communicate with these guys. You got to be crystal clear, and then always, and I should have done this when I went in. I should have verified that, okay, it's going to be these tires, and I am getting the oil change, and I'm getting an alignment, correct? Which I thought I did, but I guess I didn't.
Like we was talking about earlier, of course, with the way that I drive due to my travel distance for work, I'm going to jump on that next week and see about getting an alignment and oil change done. So I will relay my experience with you.
Please do, and don't let my horror story scare you from going and using these. I'm sure they're perfectly fine, and you're probably going to go to some other one of their franchises anyway. So it should be fine. But just make sure, because they didn't tell me that the oil change was a coupon. The free oil change was a coupon, and you can use it anytime. But you got to specify that you want it done right then and there if you want it done right then and there.
Well, that's what's in the small print. You missed it.
Yeah.
Probably. It was probably big print too, but I'm blinded tired. But that's my jack wagon. I mean, there's a lot of other ones that we could get into with all the political bullshit that's going on, but I'm not going to get into that. I just wanted to share my experience, get it off my chest, make me feel better, so we can just move on. But if you guys have any jack wagon, let's get it off your chest too. Got anybody that's irked you or anything that's irked you recently?
Well, yesterday I tried to get an airline reservation on one of those cheap airlines because it was convenient, and I went through this long list of things. Do you want air? Do you really want a seat? Do you want both sides of the seat belt?
Do you want air? It's like, yeah, I want to breathe.
I don't want to breathe, and everything beyond the seat was costing $40 to $60 more.
Oh,
and by the time
shit.
I got to the end, I'm like, there's no difference between flying this airline and
it's not.
Southwest.
Southwest is going to start charging for bags now.
Yep.
Yeah. So I went to Southwest and I booked there because I'm used to Southwest, and they don't have assigned seating yet. That may be next year, but there is a charge now for check bags.
Yeah, it's horseshit.
Yeah, and it's expensive. It's not cheap.
I mean, that's the only reason they were getting business. So they're going to lose all their fucking business because they're not.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. So half my day yesterday was just trying to get through getting simple reservations to go up and see my kids July 4th.
Well, you know what it is? It's they collude together. Is that what it's collusion?
Yeah.
The big heads of these companies get together, and they're like, okay, Southwest, you're going to start doing this now too. Even the playing field with everybody else. Start doing the assigned seatings and bullshit. So it's going to go. But that, you know what that does? That leaves room for somebody to come in and take over the Southwest model.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, the airline industry is just like anything else with big pharma or.
They're all in it together.
Yeah,
they collude, those bastards. Bunch of bastards. What about you, Danny?
Oh, well, the airline's always upset. On that note, me and my wife flew to Florida. I guess it was last month on Allegiant or Spirit or Jim Bob's Freightliner, whatever they are now. They're like $40 a ticket, whatever. And it doesn't specifically say we're going to charge you for carry-ons because I've got a little tough box I can carry all my clothes for a week. So just drag that with me, whatever. I get to the gate coming back from Florida. I'm all checked in, whatever, about to walk on the plane. The guy goes, "Excuse me, sir, you haven't paid for your carry-on." I said, "Nope, sure didn't." Walked right by and got on the plane. What are you going to do now? I'm here.
Yeah.
And they were stopping everybody. It doesn't say that we have to until you get to where they, scan your ticket or whatever. So whatever.
Hey, so you made it to Florida with no issue or problem, but coming back, they're harassing you about it.
Well, it's also the difference between like BNA is in my mind, a giant airport. We were flying out of Sarasota that has like 3 gates and like 12 people work there. Yeah. So I'm sure they were a little more,
They got nothing better to do.
Exactly. But anyway, my biggest pet peeve, and this will be about 1,000 jack wagons. I drive 65 south every night to go to work. The left lane is only an HOV lane for 3 hours a day. And that's in the afternoon because that's leaving Nashville,
Yeah.
At 8:30 at night, there should not be anybody in that lane doing 60 miles an hour. So every, mid-20s blonde female in a, Nissan Maxima or whatever they're driving now that's staring at their phone doing 65 in the fast lane, all of them. They all get my vote.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on any of that fucking traffic in and out of Nashville. It's
God.
Wagons. Nobody can drive. There's always a wreck. I mean, you can just count on it. There's going to be a wreck every morning, every afternoon, and it's going to back shit up.
There will be construction somewhere that nobody said anything about.
Yeah, and nobody's at the construction site.
Nobody's there, just lights flashing.
Yeah.
Lights flashing in a trooper car over here in the corner somewhere. That's
it's unmanned. It's just sitting.
Yeah, it's just sitting there.
The deterrent. What about you, Brent? Jack Wagon?
As far as recently, I've had a pretty good month so far, so I really can't.
All right, well, we won't exit.
I can't really complain on anything as far as lately, but I've got to agree with Danny on the traffic and the HOV lane stuff, because you guys know that I travel quite a bit to come to work. I live in Kentucky, so I'm 2.5 hours away from my work site. I'm traveling multiple times a week. I'm driving 1,000 miles a week just to come to work, and I love my job. I love being a celebrity bodyguard. It's one of the best things I've ever done. I wouldn't change it for the world, but the traffic and the road work and the 2.5 hour drive turns into 3.5 hours, and just I've got bad road rage anyways, so it's a Jag wagon for me.
And with this heat, wear and tear on the vehicle and your AC system
makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah, I was doing a detail the other. I don't know if I told you guys this or not, but it's the one where you're completely incognito kind of deal, and you're in your vehicle most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
My fucking AC crapped out.
Oh no.
Yeah, like in hour 7, it crapped out, and it's still like peak heat time of the day, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm screwed now. But I got through it, so no big deal. Heat is a jack wagon. I'm just going to call the heat out as being a jack wagon.
Oh, yeah.
Well, air conditioning is important. That they were trying to figure out why that of all the cars in the Middle East that the Arabs were buying, they were buying the Caprice. The Chevrolet Caprice at one time was the most bought car, and they could not figure out why. And they finally went over there and they said, "Why are you guys buying all these Chevrolet Caprices? They're not really great cars." And they said, "Oh, the air conditioner is great." It was the great air conditioner in that one car that was a selling point for all these people in the Middle East, because they could get in there and cool off real quick.
I thought it was because of the trunk space, and they could get more explosives in there.
There you go.
So I'll share one short jack wagon story with you. So this was back when I was doing fugitive apprehension, and I was flying out to Oklahoma to go transport a guy back on a warrant, and go through the airport hassle. We check firearms, we did all that crap. Get on the plane, get ready to sit in my seat. Going through, we've got assigned seats, and I want to think it was American Airlines that we done this with. But they stopped me and they look at me. It's like, "Oh well, we've got a problem here." They said your seat is broke. It's stuck in the upright position. It won't recline. Like, well, okay, I'm not worried about that. No big deal. It's like, well, we can't let you sit in it because it won't recline. Okay, well, and you guys know, if you've been on the airline, it reclines what, that much? 4 inches maybe? It's like, well, guys, I'm worried about it. It's not a big deal.
If that, yeah.
Yeah, if that. It's not a big deal. Let's just, I'm tired. I want to get this over with. Let's just get on with it. Well, we can't let you do that seat. Okay, well, what do we need to do? Well, we need to run you back through with the ticketing. We need to get you set up we can get you set up on a different seat. We can bring you back a different ticket. We'll give it to you on the plane. It's no big deal. We can set it up. Okay, that's fine. We'll go through the hassle, do all this. I'll be damned if the seat that they put me in wasn't all the way in the back against the bathroom by the wall. And guess what that seat does? It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my jack wagon for the year.
There you go. That's a good one. I think we've all been there. I said I was going to put our swag up. There's a picture of the license plate, the Leddies. I call those Leddies. Better than a Yeti. the Talking Letty.
I like that.
And he's got the big ones coming also. So those are like the whiskey glass size. I don't know what they call those, but
Like a rocks glass.
Yeah, like a
and,
low ball glass.
and then he's got bigger ones coming too. So those will be available too. So check them out. You can get, I think the patches are $25 each, or you can get all three for $50. I think the plates are $30. And I don't know what he's charging on the tumblers, but just get in touch with Nikolai, and it's at 93 Tactical on the grams. Just PM him, and he will take care of you, or email me, talkingled@gmail.com, and I'll make sure that he gets your order there. So again, this all goes into supporting the show. So give back to the show that has given you so much over the years. Isn't that right, Andre? I mean,
absolutely.
I cannot.
I was talking to somebody today that a very major, well, it's not a major company, but it's a company that we've all heard is having to actually go out of business because they could not get support. And in our industry, firearms industry, if we don't support each other, because we're all basically friends, we have the same mindsets, we have the same points of view. You know, there's very few people that in our industry that we can't look at and say, oh, that's a buddy, that's a friend. Mm-hmm. But we need to go ahead and realize that what we need to do is support each other, not with just, hey, good job, but buy the shit. You know, go ahead, like you know, authors. If you want to be friend with somebody who writes stuff, don't go ahead and ask for a free book. Say, I'll buy you a book because I want to support you. Yeah. And I had an author one time that was had a book out, and I was kind of hedging to get a free book. And he goes, if you want to be a buddy, go ahead and buy it, because that's what I need more than anything else is sales of the book. So what we need to do to support each other is to go take training, pay for it, to go ahead and you know, get the swag from Lefty, but pay for it. So, you know, Lefty can keep on going. You know, he's out there on the street corners every day spinning a sign, and I feel sorry every time I drive by and shoot him a bird.
Four tires. Come on, guys.
Yeah. And, you know, and he has a big sign, you know, with big arrows says, I work for tires. And he's out there spinning it in the sun, and he's got that clown suit on, the big nose. You know, I feel kind of sorry for him. Yeah. I mean, I think I threw a bottle of water at him once.
I got a little corrugated cut on my hand tossing that sign around.
There you go. But you do a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well said, well put. So yes, I mean, help us, we help you. Again, I mean, I can't give you a dollar amount over the 13 years of all we've given out to our listeners. But it's more than I've made doing this show. I can guarantee it's probably 5-10 times more than I've made. I mean, that one year we gave away 12 AKs.
Yeah.
In 1 year.
I tell you, nobody is in this business because of the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 100%.
Because I've
seen money to keep it going. So this show don't run
that's
on
what we do is just keep us afloat. That's all we ask. You know, we don't want to get rich.
Yeah. And if you just want to donate, I've got a Venmo account. I'm happy to take donations. If you want to donate to the cause, we could do that too. But I want you to have, get something for your money. Yeah. So that's why I've set up this deal with 93 Tactical, and we're gonna do like a cool new patch every month kind of deal. If when we get that Patreon going, Mission First Tactical is going to be on board. We're going to do the dump trays. I don't know if you guys have seen our dump trays, Danny and Brent, but Mission First makes these Kydex, stuff left over from their holsters. So they make these cool dump trays so you can, empty your pockets at night. But you can get cool logos and stuff put on there. I use mine for an armorer's tray. So when I'm breaking down my gun and cleaning my guns and my gun parts, they go in there. But we've given, I don't know how many hundreds of these away over the years too, to our listeners. But we're going to do stuff like that for that Patreon account that we set up. So different levels, you're going to get, more stuff. So anyway, that's coming. Enough about that. Let's get into the main topic of the show, as all the listeners are fast forwarded to this probably anyway. So. We're going to talk about the importance of getting good training and knowing if and when you are getting good training. And again, my guest, Andre Deleu, he is a industry renowned writer, test and evaluator. Again, I mean, when I say that he's shot more, guns than probably any of us have ever, even thought about, I'm not exaggerating. So, and the different courses and trainers over the years. I mean, you've probably met all the greats. You've done stuff with Masad, I'm sure, and all these other ones. And you just did one recently with a mutual acquaintance of ours, and we're going to talk about that. And then Danny and Brent, just real quick for the people who didn't catch our past episodes, give a little bit about yourselves, your background. Start with Brent, because you're new guy.
New guy routine. So I started off in my teenage years as a competition shooter and a competition fighter. I've done martial arts and competitive shooting for many, many years. Moving forward into that, I got into doing fugitive apprehension for the state of Tennessee. I was a warrant division tactical officer for them. And
for the state. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I spent over 5 years doing that with Fat Bay, and was a tactical team leader. I got the opportunity to go through a SWAT school and go through a designated defensive marksman school, which I'm a instructor for designated defensive marksman as well. And I got picked up by our mutual friend, Colonel Brian Seaver with Tennessee Rangers.
He's a regular on the show now. He is a
great guy, one of my best friends in the world. Can't say enough good things about the Colonel. But he got me into the security field, doing stuff with SAPs and doing some celebrity protection and EP work, which is where I met Danny. He's a partner of mine. We work together constantly doing EP work. And Danny had brought up the idea a few years back about starting up a shooting company, and our training backgrounds and skill sets and stuff very, very much aligned. So he brought me on board with him to do that, and we've jumped on that train and been doing it ever since. And I can't imagine doing anything else. I'm so happy and so blessed, and just absolutely love what I'm doing. Very cool. Now, don't you have a military background? So I had enlisted into the Marine Corps, and I had an early separation due to some injuries. So I didn't get to finish completing any kind of type of training. I got you. But did get to take home what little I did get a chance to learn, and from there I refused to not be able to get that type of training. So I started jumping on every kind of tactical shooting course, shooting class, whatever that I could from a lot of probably some of our mutual friends owned companies that I've trained with. So I've done that for many, many years. A lot of the law enforcement side background training that I've got to train with. My martial arts instructor was a SWAT team commander, SWAT team instructor, sheriff in my hometown. He started training me from a very early age on all this stuff. So just a lot of experience from a lot of very, very knowledgeable individuals that I've been blessed enough to be around over the years. Very cool. Danny.
So I joined the Army right after high school and spent 14, almost 15 years between active duty and the Tennessee Guard. I grew up in Florida, but decided, after my time in the Army, Tennessee was home. Got picked up again by Colonel Seaver doing the private security thing, and started seeing some other companies that I couldn't figure out why they weren't being held to the same standards as we were, and why they weren't training as much as us, and kind of why we just look different. So I brought it to Brent, said, hey man, we could really do a lot and help some people out and train our guys at the same time, and really get everybody, on the same page as far as security training and what right looks like and how to be better at your job, essentially. So we started Warhorse beginning of last year, and I've been a armed security instructor for about a year before that, and just really wanted to make our industry better as a whole, is why we really got into it. But now it's kind of turned into its own body, and we're doing some law enforcement training, we're doing civilian training, we've got a bunch of music industry people that we train on top of all of our security training. Yeah.
Very cool. I'm just pulling up some pictures. We recently did a refresher course kind of deal out at the range with you guys. I thought I could just scan through these pretty quick, but it doesn't look like I've hit the right button. But anyway, so there's their backgrounds for those who are new to the show. And then Andre, I mean, I may be like underselling you with your description. What's your, before you got into the the industry writing, what did you do?
Believe it or not, I come from commercial nuclear background. You ever see the movie China Syndrome?
Heard of it.
Yeah, the position that Jack Lemmon plays, that's what I did. I ran the control room and had a senior reactor operator's license to run nuclear power plants, and I helped run one for 30 years. I actually ran 2. It ended up running 6, but that's another story. So I was basically come from a nuclear background, and I was working with some Navy SEALs that were doing some video work, and that kind of exploded into doing a lot of video work, which exploded into doing some print work. So it was kind of like a hobby. I was doing all that stuff on my days off, and then next thing I know, that I had no days off. I was working this full time, so I ended up retiring from the power company and doing writing and videoing full time. And I had an opportunity to work with a lot of great guys doing the video. You guys ever see the video for Carlos Hathcock, the sniper?
Yeah.
I did that video. Worked with him.
Where's the video?
With Dick
Where's the video?
Marcinko, with those guys.
Where's the video?
It was from Lowtide Group, and that's back in the day where we were selling these VHS tapes for $20 a shot all day long, every day. And that was back in the day where VHS tapes were the thing. That was the cat's nuts right there.
Okay.
And we were selling.
If it was on YouTube, I was going to pull it up.
Digital.
Try to.
I don't know. It may be. It may have shifted to public domain, but it was the video was called Carlos Hathcock Speaks, and we did videos like Red Cell, and we did SWAT videos. We did sniper videos. We worked with John Plaster, with him, Chris Karachi. A lot
Do
of.
you still have those videos?
Yeah. I still got shelf loads of them. I got tons of that stuff.
Dude, we need to convert those to digital and get them back out.
Yeah, I agree. And they're just sitting there. But it's really interesting because some of the stuff
to your house, and we're going to unpack those.
Oh, it's great stuff. And I worked a lot with these guys, and that was back in the day where Dick Marcinko, the legendary first commander of SEAL Team 6, and
legends in this.
Yeah, we did his stuff.
Yeah, we got to do some digging, Andre.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I did a lot of work with Naval Special Warfare, and did a lot of video work, and we had a lot of fun. I mean, one time they gave me 2 Mark V boats, and I was out there in a Fort Pierce or the county helicopter, halfway out the door, filming these 2 Mark Vs on the water, and it was a beautiful shot, and it was just a lot of fun. Just working with those guys was great.
Yeah.
But working with SEALs for many years, that was interesting. That really was fun.
Yeah, and I'm just a peon. I have no military law enforcement background. I'm just a dude who started a podcast in the firearms industry. And over the years, I've had the remarkable fortune to work with some of the industry's greatest trainers, firearms instructors. And I mean, I can't even name them all. I mean, there's been so many that I've had the opportunity to do things with. And I guess one of the ones that really stands out is a course that I took a few years ago with the IDF.
Oh, Mikey Hartman?
Yeah, it was with Mikey Hartman, and he brought in, I guess they were either on sabbatical or, they whatever, but they were still active duty guys, and they were teaching us some pretty cool stuff. That was a good time. I think I did an episode on that. I can't remember if I did an episode on it or not, but and I had those guys on. But that was I learned a lot. Maybe it was good training, maybe it was bad training. I don't know. I mean, some of the stuff I took with me and still use today, and some of it, I've through the tactical response, James Yeager. I got a good majority of my training there through him. I was fortunate enough when he was still alive. He and I were friends. He'd been on the show several times. And Rob Pincus, world-renowned firearms trainer, now firearms manufacturer developer. They've got the Avidity Arms company that he and Sodini started, and they've got their is it PD-10 or something like that? I can't remember the name of it, but they've got It's like the Glock 43, slim, compact. It's a really nice gun. And now they're in the ARs. They're making ARs, and I built an AR off one of their lowers before. But Sage Dynamics, several of the, Charlie Melton has shown me several, sniper tricks here and there, and just various people throughout the years. It's just amazing the opportunities that I've had. And, before I got into this, I thought I knew, what shooting a gun was and how to shoot a gun and everything I needed to know to protect myself and everybody else. But after that first class I took, I didn't know how dead I was going to be, or somebody that didn't need to be dead was going to be dead after I took my first course. And that's when the light came on, and I realized, I got to spend more time and more money on the training than my Gucci shit, than on my gear. I mean, yeah, you need good gear, but you only need so much good gear.
You take one good class, and that's what you walk away with. It's like, gee, I thought I was good, and I really wasn't that good. Especially like me, I think I told you this, that when I was young, which was a long time ago, and I got my first gun, there was no instruction available. I mean, back then, when you bought a gun, that was it.
Yeah.
You knew where the bullet came out usually, and you just bought ammo and a gun, and they said, "Here you go, kid, you're on your way." There's no training, so for many years I kind of trained myself, which was stupid, and I gained a lot of bad habits. Yeah, and so the first time I went through a class, I thought, "Oh shit, I got this nailed," and I was like all thumbs. The time I was done, I was like, "I think I'll go home now." I feel like a retard. Sorry if that's improper, but
not on this show, brother. You can say retard. You can say it all.
No. But I tell you, but if you really want to learn something about yourself, take some training, and that way you'll go, "Oh, I really, really, really need more training." And I to this day, I'm some of the best guys I know that are instructors have tried their best to beat out some of the bad habits I've got, and it's worked a little bit. But still, don't train yourself. And if you think you need training, you need training. And if you think you need training, you need professional training. It's kind of like asking your dad or mom to teach you how to drive a car. Bad idea. Go ahead to somebody who can go ahead and teach you how to be a good shot and how to stand and what proper trigger squeeze is, and be able to go ahead and
all that. We're going to talk about all that, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people's misconception is, I grew up shooting guns, or I went to the range once, and I went through the concealed carry course. I'm good to go. Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong again, because 90% of those people who first-time gun buyers go through their, whatever state it is, whatever their course is, never even touch that gun again. They put it in a bedroom drawer. It's stuck in their purse. It's, out of sight, out of mind. And, when and if it came time to use it, they probably couldn't even find it.
Well, what scares me too is these guys and girls that buy a concealed firearm, take a class, and still, when the end of the class rolls around, don't know the difference between using it to defend yourself from a lethal challenge or some kind of immediate deadly threat with defending property. They're like, "Oh yeah, somebody steals my car, I'm gonna shoot at them." It's like, no, don't do that. There's if you defend property, you're not a good guy, you're a bad guy. They don't understand that. It's like
depends on what state you're in.
Right. Well, yeah, there's always the conditions, but defending property using deadly force is something that you can get in a lot of trouble with.
Yeah. And Andy and Brent, chime in, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that separates, I think, a lot of the difference between a good firearm instruction is it's branching outside of just the marksmanship fundamentals. Yeah, that's important, but there's a lot more that goes into it on the defensive role of carrying a firearm for defensive purpose or professional purpose. Use of force policies. How does those fundamentals stack up when you start adding things into the equation, such as stress, movement of targets, etc. I can take somebody and like I was as a teenager getting out and doing this target shooting and stuff. Yeah, it was great to learn those fundamentals, but how does that apply to a professional setting or a defensive setting? Well, it really does. There's a big difference between target shooting and defensive shooting. So you've got to really look at that from looking at it from an instructor's standpoint is how am I adequately providing that skill set in my instruction? Am I super focused on fundamentals, or am I adding these proper things that need to be into it? So that when I look at other instructors' courses, that's what I'm looking for. Is there something there that's more challenging outside the realm of just basic marksmanship, which is a lot of what some of these tests are that we was just discussing, the concealed carry tests, some of the security courses, even some law enforcement courses. The professional industry is not holding professional standards to an extent.
Yeah. So, do you have anything to add to that, Danny?
Well, just on top of that, I think I can pride myself in Warhorse as far as sending Brent and I to other instructors. I think that's like we were saying about supporting the industry. Not only are we supporting other instructors, we're learning from them. They're potentially learning from us. We're still being students on top of being instructors.
Yeah.
And if somebody can't explain why they're teaching you something, there might be a little bit of an issue there. Like, hey, here's the drill, but why am I doing this drill? I'm big on why. Mm-hmm. If I can't say to a student a practical reason for me to do a bill drill at 5 yards, then maybe they don't need to learn that. Maybe that's a little bit outside of the scope of what they should be doing right now.
Yeah. Maybe you got to drill it back a little bit to get the fundamentals. And let's talk about the fundamentals and we're not going to spend a lot of time on beginners, stuff, because most of our listeners are beyond that. They're intermediate to advanced shooters. And that's really what I want to spend most of our focus. But I mean, you got to start at the basics, and that would be the safety, learning the safe ways to handle a firearm. And you guys want to expand on that for us?
I know I was talking to Boone about this just last weekend, and his idea is that fundamentals are something that we're going to have with us all our lives, and we need to go ahead and maintain the fundamentals and always go back to the fundamentals. Yeah. And as you guys know, firearm shooting, especially pistol shooting, is a very, very perishable skill. I mean, years ago, I was talking to Dick Marcinko, and that's back in the day where he had Team 6. They would shoot 6 days a week and half a day on Sunday. And so he'd give his guys off a Sunday, and they'd come back Monday morning, and he could tell the skills had degraded that short period of time Monday morning. So when it comes to pistol skills, fundamentals is always there. You've got to go ahead and always reinforce that, always make sure that you're doing the right. That's why instruction is great, because if you're at the range and you're doing something wrong and nobody's correcting you, then you're doing it wrong and you're reinforcing bad behavior. But fundamentals,
you don't know you're doing it wrong.
Right. Yeah. And if you don't know you're doing it wrong, then you're just reinforcing bad behavior. So it's you guys are so important to get people to shoot right all the time, because what they say, practice makes perfect. Well, actually, perfect practice makes perfect. Right. And you got to go ahead and make sure that they do it. So whenever I go to a public range, which I loathe going to a public range, some of the stuff I see out there just makes my skin crawl. Some guy teaching his girlfriend how to shoot, I'm like, oh my God. And some of the things you see out there just absolutely is horrifying. And all you want to do is start passing out business cards for instructions.
Yes.
Look here, an instructor tip, and if there's any other instructors out there listening, or anybody that's thinking about getting into instruction or has a spouse that's wanting to learn, biggest instructor tip for you: do not train your own spouse. Let somebody else do it.
Yeah. I tell people that all the time.
Or family member in general.
Yeah. Send them somewhere else. Hey, you send me your family member, I'll send you mine.
Because they know you, and your instructor needs a certain level of respect.
Right.
And just face it, you get no respect from your family members and your loved ones.
Well, there's a certain level of respect, and then there's a certain level of kind of a firmness that has to go with an instructor. And
sure.
And I'm gonna call her out. I'm sure she's gonna go back to listen to this. Stacy, bless her heart, love her to death. Couldn't ask for a better woman in my life. But she'd never shot pistols before, and I took her out here not long ago. We started doing some stuff on that, and it was like I'm being way too firm with her, and then she's just biting back at me, and it's like it ends up in an argument within the first 30 seconds.
It's not received very well in that environment.
Right, but then I could flip flop it and let Danny or bring her to one of you guys and say, "Hey, let's go through this." And
you did this, and he showed her the exact same thing, but yet with you, she was fighting it, but with him, he's like, "Oh yeah, I get it."
Yeah, right. I'm being too tough on her.
Well, it's just again,
bless her heart, she done well.
Also, you know.
She done well by the end of
That's
the
a
day.
great
We
tip.
had her hitting targets at 15 yards. I mean, she
That's
was doing exceptional. But it's just that with spouses, there's that kind of that hard headedness going back and forth of, do I really want to listen to what you have to tell me?
Right. You're yelling at me and you're telling me I'm doing the wrong thing. Okay.
Right.
And Andre brought up a good point, is that even the most advanced shooters still work on their fundamentals. You know, they work on the safety, they work on the grip, the stance, the sight alignment, trigger control, your breathing techniques, you know, doing the dry firing.
Yeah, I was working with Shane Coley one year, and he was the team captain for Glock. And I said, "What are you gonna work on this season?" He said, "Fundamentals."
Is he
Said,
still the captain for Glock? Is he still there?
Yeah. The team Glock's expanded. They're like 6 people now, but yeah, he's still team captain. And but that was astonishing. You know, I thought he'd work on speed. He said, "No, I need to go back and concentrate on fundamentals, because unless you can put your bullet exactly where you need to put it, being fast really doesn't count."
Right.
I was like, "Huh, okay." So that really hit home.
Yeah, and that's something I noticed that you guys did when we were doing that course out there. Is, you know, the first couple of drills, you were just trying to get a feel of people's, you know, their basic fundamentals, what kind of, you know, form and, you know, all that they had, so you could evaluate where you needed to spend more time with them on getting through this course. And
yeah, especially in the security industry, because you've got people from all different backgrounds, different experience levels. This guy's been on the job for 5 years and he's, you know, on the same level as most of our top guys. And this guy was just hired 2 weeks ago and he's only shot a gun once, but they're all on the same range, on the same fire line. So we got to get everybody on the same page. You know, we only had a few hours to do it.
Yep.
So we've got to get everybody on the same page pretty quickly. And that's all about fundamentals and safety. As long as everybody's doing the same thing, we're good.
Yeah. And I even picked up a couple of, you know, neat things from you guys. So, I mean, it was well worth it for me to go. I mean, I'll let you guys evaluate and say, but, you know, like Andre said, I mean, I've been doing certain things for years, and, you know, it's probably a bad habit, but you're talking about closing my grip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of had a little space there in my grip. And then once I, you know, fix that and closed it in, I was getting some really good groups.
Yeah, and there's a few schools of thought on that. And I grew up shooting a pistol like the old FBI movies, where your other hand's way out in front. And I took a red dot course with Scott Jedlinski from Modern Samurai.
Yeah.
And the way he talks about grip and focuses on grip really changed how I look at shooting altogether, and kind of changed the way I teach.
Yeah.
So even if you have a bad trigger squeeze, or, you know, your body mechanics aren't exactly perfect, as long as your grip's good, you're going to be consistent almost every time.
Yeah. And I think over the years, my grip has changed also, because my body's changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had a hip replacement, you know, shoulder injuries and, you know, shit like that. And it's something that you don't really notice unless you've got somebody there watching you.
Right.
Right.
And you guys pointed that out to me. He was like, "Hey, you might want to try, you know, closing that grip a little bit." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even realize I was doing it."
And I'll kind of explain a fundamental on that here real quick
Let's do it
with this. So as we talked about closing that grip, if I can get this to work with me with my background,
Can you turn that off? Can you turn your background off?
Well, yeah, let's see here if we can go through and turn it off.
I mean, unless you got like nude pictures of yourself hanging
there might be a body hanging in the
on
back
a bare rug.
There we go.
Look, Asian porn.
There you go. Perfect.
So what we're talking about there with this back of the grip is, a lot of times what we see with shooters as they go to grip the pistol, you'll have this massive amount of space setting back through here. And what happens when you have that space is you go to fire, and especially you see it very commonly with block shooters, is the gun recoiling and your shots are going low left. And that is due to that opening back
exactly
here.
What mine were doing too.
Mm-hmm.
So when we teach to do that, is keeping that meat of the hand here wrapped all the way around the back strap of the gun, this hand meeting that, closing that gap, so there's full contact to the back of the weapon. That way there's no diagonal movement. It's all straight back recoil.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
And that's my grip to a T.
Yeah.
Because I want to get that thumb up there. So I'm pushing it a little further up.
Further up.
But if I'm back here, closing it, then that thumb comes further back too.
And
Well, that also means you need to go ahead and get a pistol that fits your hand so you can do that.
yes,
Yes.
very important. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing that drives me crazy when I go to gun shops and people are trying to sell guns to people that don't know any better, and they're selling the most expensive gun instead of something that fits them right.
Right.
And that drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And one thing with that grip and the whole reason behind it is a lot of people try to defeat recoil on a pistol. It's just not going to happen. Even on a 9mm, you're going to get recoil no matter what. The biggest thing and what that grip does, at least for me and a lot of people that I've taught, is isolating it and having that natural cycle of the slide. And you're not getting rocked by the recoil, but you're not defeating it either. It's a natural cycle of the weapon.
I've heard that before, is that if you just go with the recoil and accept it and use it instead of trying to fight it, you can get back on target a lot quicker.
Yep.
That's right. That's true.
Well, and it goes back to even like say with single hand shooting, it's kind of the idea of something that James Yeager used to talk a lot about natural point of aim. And I stress that a lot in both with single hand shooting and dual hand shooting, and it's the body tension that you're applying. So if you remember, like with a lot of old standards, it was a very turtleneck form of racing the shoulders in, very tense, very overdriving the weapon out. And what you're getting there is the more tension on the arms for one, and two, like we was discussing earlier there, Lefty, about ocular cavity. So what we get with that, your ocular cavity is the way that light and images is produced into your eyes. When we walk around and we're looking at something, we don't walk around town looking down this way or looking up this way. We're looking straight ahead, right? So why aren't we shooting the same way? Shooting straight out, head completely level with the deck, not dipped down into the sights, not dipped up. James Yeager used to talk about something as well with that on the body tension of, instead of with single hand shooting pointing straight out, letting it be a natural point. So if I take my finger and I point the light socket across the room, it's got a slight angle to the arm because that's the way it naturally bends. Same thing with a pistol. I'm bringing the sights to my eyes. I'm not tilting my head in to get to the sights. So I'm bringing it to my natural ocular cavity and keeping the tension off my arm towards a natural point of aim. Because the eyes and the only represents light or brings in light to certain angles. That's why we have peripheral vision of view, right? So whenever we are dead on with the sights, we have a better chance of picking up our target, better chance of picking up our sights, and there's no blurred alignment, there's no offsets, etc. It's just a much easier way of doing things, a much more efficient way of doing things.
And the natural point of aim is important because I understand that back in the day where Charles de Gaulle was head of France, they used to train his guards to, whenever they drew their pistol, to leave one of their fingers out and point their finger at the target, because it gives you a natural point of aim. So, if you draw your pistol with your finger out and just point your finger at the target, you're pretty much right on target.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was always interesting. But that was, just an example of a natural point of aim.
It's the same thing with a support hand on a rifle. If I'm shooting an AR, I might do a thumb over grip, but my pointer finger is still straight down the barrel. So I don't have to use the sights. I can point to where I need to be.
Exactly. And that's a very natural, your body will follow that finger all the time.
Yep.
Cool.
So another thing to think of, and I'm gonna move on here, is if you're going to get training, you need to, for yourself, you need to define your purpose. Why are you getting the training? Is it for self-defense? Is it for home defense? Are you getting into competitive shooting? Just recreational shooting, professional use, hunting? So, define your purpose for the training and then go seek out specific training for that. And there's several ways that you could do that. Andre pointed out a nice website before we started. What was it called? I had it pulled up.
Shootingclasses.com.
Shootingclasses.com.
Yeah, I think that was
not hard to remember.
Yep. And for some reason,
he's tired today.
I am. I had it up and it's gone now. Shooting.
Oh, you're talking about the website or what?
Yeah, the website. So there's a website you can go to, and this website, and I'm not familiar with it, so I don't know exactly what all it has, but according to Andre, you can go there and you can search for local trainers in your area. So you put in where you live, and it's where
if you want to go get training, either from a specific instructor or for a specific area, you can go ahead and use that as a resource to find out what's the closest place to you. I think you're able to go in there and actually put in a range that you want to use, and it'll tell you what courses are being offered at that range. And it's really good, because a lot of times that you want to get training, but you don't know where to go. And what are you going to do? Go to a gun shop and say, hey, who here knows where I can get a good instructor? Yeah. And you may or may not get somebody that's a good instructor. These guys, these shootingclasses.com, they're all extremely good instructors. And one of the guys that does it is my buddy Boone Benton, who is one of the survivors from Benghazi, and he really knows his stuff. Great instructor, and he uses this all the time to go ahead and get his classes put together. And he's all over the country. Well, mostly down in the northeast or the southeast part of the United States, but Florida, Georgia, all over the place. And his classes are everything from basics to skill building to everything like using carbines around cars. I took a course with him where all we did was learn how to shoot in and around cars, which was fascinating. It really was interesting. And we actually shot through windows, both from inside out and outside in, to give you the idea about what it is actually like to engage targets, both inside and outside. What happens to the bullet? How much does it deflect? If you're shooting from inside your car and you want to shoot somebody outside, what's the bullet going to do? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, because you actually got a chance to shoot through a windshield to find out. And we were using our own individual loads, and we actually had a lot of fun seeing what our bullet would do when you actually shot at a target with a window in the way.
Well, and then on top of that too,
all I can tell you that if you're going to shoot inside a car, you better have iPro on, because it's going to spall like crazy.
That, and you're getting that sensory overload with it too, because whenever you're shooting in a closed environment like that within a vehicle, I've shot tons of short barrel ARs and short barrel shotguns from inside vehicles. So I'm training. The compression and just the concussion is insane inside of a small vehicle. Yeah. So getting used to that.
You get a real good impression in that movie Heat, when they had that gunfight where they're shooting through the front window.
Yeah,
I swear to God, it looked like they were actually shooting live rounds through that window. I don't know how they managed to stage it, but it looked real. It really did. And
Andre, I'm glad you brought up iPro, because I want to talk about this real quick before I forget. Tactical RX, which you guys know I've been using Tactical RX for years now for my iPro, and just sunglasses too. I mean, they're stylish. You guys probably saw me wear them out at the range that day. We are going to be doing a big giveaway with Tactical RX coming up. And I mean, they do, sunglasses, the shooting glasses, they do prescriptions. So you can get prescription shooting glasses. But they're going to be giving away, and I'm pulling it up. Give me a minute. I got a brain fart here. I've closed out too many tabs. Coming up.
Doesn't he look like Stevie Wonder?
Stevie Wonder. These are their SOBs, and they've got different colors. You can get different colored lenses. You can get polarized, non-polarized. You can get clear. This is a pair of the Mother Truckers, I think. Let's see which ones. No, these are the Mofos. It's a pair of the Mofos right here.
You said they do prescription as well?
Yep, they do prescriptions, non-prescriptions. They've got their brand, and they've got other brands too that you can buy from them. But their brands by far are the ones you want to go with. This Tactical RX. But here it is. He sent me the email, and the giveaway. And I'll let you know what you got to do to get involved with this. But we're going to give away 1, 2, 3, 3. Looks like 3 pairs. So a pair of the Mother Truckers with the Clay Killer lens. That's $149 value. We're going to give away a Little John with polarized lens. That's $149 value. I think I got a pair of Little Johns over here somewhere too. That's an empty case, but they come with cool cases too. Anyway, I've got just about one of all of them. And then a Mount Falcon. It's a 3-lens kit that comes with this this pair, and you can change the lenses out. That's a $209 value. So we're going to be giving those away coming up in some episodes. So participate, listen, win. You know our motto. and that's going to be cool. So thanks to Brett there at Tactical RX. Plus, he set you guys up with a discount code, and the discount code is TL20. You get 20% off anything on their website, but we hope you use it towards the Tactical RX because those are the good ones. But go and help Brett out because he's been a good supporter, sponsor of the show. We've given away, I don't know how many pair of his eyewear over the year. I mean, I don't know how I've given away my personal ones. I'll be at a range or at an event and somebody likes my glasses, and I'll just take them off and give it to them. So I'm just cool that way. But yes, visit their websites, tacticalrx.com. Share the screen.
Well, it's really a useful thing to have because I don't know, all you guys, you shoot a lot of steel, and 100% of the time when I was taking pictures, whenever somebody's shooting steel, I always get pieces bounce back in my face. And the Eye Pro is really important, especially if you're shooting steel or around when steel is being shot, because that stuff will spray everywhere.
Yeah,
Here's
much further distance than you thought.
The Falcons right here. Here's what he says it's a 3-lens kit, so you can change these lenses out on this pair. So he's probably got like a clear, polarized, and probably like a dark one or something. I don't know. But yeah, so that's coming up among other things that we're going to be doing for giveaways. Oh, here's a pair right here too. What is this? These are SOBs too with the cryptic kind of look to them. So yeah, wanted to mention that real quick before I forgot. So back to the regularly scheduled program. So we were talking about defining your purpose, understand what it is you're going to get training for, and doing all of it isn't a bad idea because most shooters are, main reason is self-defense. They're going to, get in the pistol for self-defense. Everybody we know goes hunts. Goes and hunt. I don't know that you really need a hunting course, but if you've never been hunting before, you definitely want to take a hunter safety course without a doubt.
Well, actually, that's a pretty good idea because used to be hunting was something that's passed down from father to son. That's not really done a lot these days. You could find a way to actually get somebody that if you think you'd like to go hunting, take this course and we'll tell you what you need to do as far as give you basically replace what your father would have taught you. So that could have some purpose in life.
Good, and I know the Tennessee Wildlife Association, they offer hunters courses. You guys don't do hunters courses, right?
No, but we had a few people in our last designated defensive marksmanship course that were coming for that reason. They weren't necessarily going to be, guys on rifles with us, but they were learning their scope and their rifle for hunting purposes, which is great.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. And then, of course, competitive shooting. If you're getting into competitive shooting, I'm sure there are specialized courses for that. But you talk to any of the guys who are, and Andre mentioned this earlier, they focus on the fundamentals.
Yes.
And then, once they've got those down, that's where, the speed and the accuracy and, all that comes from. But once they get the basics down, so, if you're going to get into competitive shooting, getting with a company like Warhorse Ballistics and learning, and I don't say learn, but learn the fundamentals to where it's just ingrained to you and it's second nature.
Well, competition is the highest form of training, actually. I mean, that's just training right there, because you can't ask for more stress than to, you're timed, you got to shoot a target and you're being evaluated. That's stressful. I mean, probably just a little bit less than being shot at. So competition is a great form of training, and people don't understand that and say, well, yeah, if you want to learn something, compete, go out there and do a Glock course, go ahead and participate in
do an IDPA, do an IPSC, match at your local range. Just go to your local range and ask if they do those competitions. Most of them will do, one of those a week or something like that. So and you don't have to ever done with just walk up, tell them you want to do it, and they'll tell you exactly what you need. Pretty much all you need is your holster and your gun.
Well, yeah, like the GSSF courses that they run, you can show up with your Glock in a box and about 50 rounds of ammo, 1 or 2 boxes of ammo, and they will tell you what to do. You don't need anything like a holster because it's right out of the box. I mean, it's simple, but it's also very challenging. So there's courses out there where you can actually compete, and it's not exotic. And it's one thing about IDPA and some of these other courses that, your foot's in the wrong place, you get disqualified, you do this, you get disqualified, and it's very frustrating to some people. But something as simple as a GSSF match where you show up there with a gun in a box and they treat you nice, they treat you good, they tell you what to do, and it's almost impossible to do it wrong. So there's some competitions that really are really great for new shooters or people that aren't experienced shooters, because most of the days that I know that do the IDPA, they've been doing this for years and years and years. And I go to some of these IDPA matches, I'm astounded at the complexity. It's like, wow.
Well, and there's a good side around that, because I know when I used to shoot IDPA, it's that having that attention, like we were saying earlier, attention to detail. Yeah. And if you can do that under time, under evaluation, under stress, that's a really big thing. Because that transposes even into like a law enforcement military side of like doing dynamic room clearing. That's you've got a lot of the same fundamentals with that there. Yeah, but I encourage anyone listening that if you really want to test and see where your shooting fundamentals are, you made a great point. Go out and shoot something competitive. Shoot something that's timed. Shoot something that's evaluated. Shoot something under some type of physical stress. Even if you do it yourself at home with a shot cloth, get out and do 25 burpees or 25 push-ups or curl. Do 25-pound weights 20 times. Draw at 10 yards and shoot a bill drill as fast as you can. You'll see where your fundamentals are when you start incorporating that stress, that physical exhaustion, etc.
Well, you guys are going to go to Monmouth to do that competition. So that's what you guys are going to be doing. It's going to be complete stress, complete exhaustion for 3 days, and you're going to have to go ahead and put rounds on target.
And that's on
so
high level of it.
Dying to hear what you guys are going to come back with. I mean, this is going to be great.
So this is that course we took. That's me shooting.
Solid.
You're shooting really good groups there, man. Solid groups.
Honestly, there wasn't a whole lot to adjust on your shooting. I just wanted to mention that grip thing because that's what I teach. But
and I'm open
to left it alone, and you'd have been fine.
I'm open to that too. I welcome criticism because it's meant to improve.
Yeah.
And
one thing I wanted to say about the competition thing, I've shot very few competitions. It's not really my thing. I like it, but if I step into a competition and I just absolutely fail miserably, that makes me want to train more for next time to be better. Yep. So not only is it a stress test, but it's going to make you want to be better for next time.
And make it a point to, if you're out doing competitions and or just training with your buddies, make it a point to train with guys and people that that are better marksmen than you are, who have a higher level of skill set. I don't want to go
to the rule for anything that you do in life. If you want to get better at it, you gotta
challenge yourself.
Train with somebody who's better than you.
The last thing I want to do is go out and shoot with some guys that are very low level in a competition if I want to challenge myself, because it's not doing that. I want to go shoot with the best of the best, and me come in the bottom of the ranks and learn from these guys. And that's driving me farther. It makes me a better shooter. It makes me a better instructor down the line. So I always try to find people better than you are to shoot with.
Mm-hmm. Well, like they say in business, if you're in a room and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You need to go ahead and better people than you are the ones to hang around with, because they'll rub off and you'll get a lot more information that way.
Check out those tactical RXs right there on Lefty's face.
There you go.
Look at them.
Look at that. Look at that.
Anytime I go to any other instructor's course, I always had a little saying that I applied to myself. It's better to appear to be dumb and know everything than appear to be smart and know nothing.
Yeah.
So I would much rather go into another instructor's course and completely forget what I know, open book and learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of people's downfalls too, is when they do, if they feel that they're an experienced shooter and they're going to a course for whatever reason, if they're going in with that attitude that, I already know everything, these guys aren't going to teach me anything. If you don't go in with an open mind, then it's not going to be a good experience for you. It's not going to be a good experience for anybody else that's there with you either.
Yeah. You got to leave the ego at the door.
Leave the ego at the door and be willing, with, again, open-mindedness and maybe you don't like what they're teaching or telling you to do, but do it anyway. Because
that's what you spent the money to do, was go there and learn from them and, try to do what they're telling you. And Brent can tell you I would say the vast majority of people that leave a course with us feel good about what they learned and probably improve something.
Yeah.
There has been less than a handful of people who didn't leave better than they came because they came in with that mindset of, this is how I do things. I'm not going to listen to him. I'm just here to shoot.
Yep.
Well, you paid me to teach you. You didn't pay to come shoot. But if you want to do that, hey man, you do you.
Yeah,
you're lost.
Stand over there so everybody else can learn.
You stand on that end.
Yeah.
Today we're cleaning the SIG P365. You're going to want to follow the SIG guidelines for disassembly and reassembly. You're going to want to take the firearm apart, put it out piece by piece, and then you're going to grab your favorite SEAL 1 CLP Plus product. Whether it's paste, liquid, or aerosol, they're all going to do the same thing. Today we're using the paste, and you can see that it comes out and it spreads very easily. Using the nylon brush, you're going to go in and you're going to cover the entire firearm, inside and out. We are safe on all metals, plastics, composites, rubber, wood, leather. So you're going to go piece by piece, putting it on there, wiping it on to clean it. Then you're going to go back and you're going to wipe it off. Remember, SEAL 1 is a wipe on, wipe off process. Use Q-tips to get down in the little nooks and crannies that the microfiber cloth does not get to. Wipe it all off, and do not forget to do the magazine. Periodically, you're going to want to take the magazine apart to clean the insides. You're going to reassemble according to the manufacturer's guidelines. Get it together. You're going to perform a function test, make sure it's operating properly, and then you're done. Remember, SEAL 1 and done.
SEAL 1 is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for a 25% off discount.
But go ahead. You were going to say something.
Oh, what we was talking about with the ego, it's those type of people that come into training environments. It's always the hardest to teach. It's like you're saying, it's the ones that's, I'm this great shot. I know everything. I don't need to change shit. I'm just going to get out here. And first off, why did you sign up to learn anything if that's what your mindset is?
Yeah.
To be open-minded enough to learn it, because, and I get it in the firearms industry, especially on the range, man, when you get a bunch of type A alpha males out on a gun range together, that's got a bunch of experience between them, there's egos, but you got to put them aside and have that open-mindedness and willingness to learn. I've got guys that I've worked with that's got a lot more experience than what I do, but still comes and trains with me and says, "Hey, Brandon, how can I improve this?"
Yeah.
I
think the one thing that we can all agree on is that training is non-negotiable. If you're going to own a firearm, you've got to get some form of training.
But you need to be flexible.
Self-defense, home defense, whatever it may be, professional training, because you guys train a lot of LE guys as well.
Yeah.
But how about instructors who get in front of a class and say, this is how you have to do this particular thing? Instead of saying, let's try this, give it a go, and see if this improves your shooting. Instead of saying, you have to hold the gun this way. You have to stand this way. You have to hold your mouth this way. And I've been in classes where the people like, it's not working for me, but, it's like, well, this is what the instructor said I had to do. It's like, okay, if it works for you, then it's not stupid. Then, but some of these instructors, they know you have to do it. Okay, try it. If it works, great. But if it's not,
if not, hey, let's take what works for you, and let's take something else that we know that works, and let's try to mod it into something custom that works for you.
I learned very early with Warhorse that what works for me isn't going to work with everybody.
Right.
And if I can find something in the moment that I can help them improve what they're doing already, then I'm good.
Yeah.
I go into a class.
That's kind of a red flag too. If you take a course and you've got an instructor that's doing that, that's kind of a red flag as to, that may not be the best instructor.
Right.
Well, that's
got to be dynamic.
That's your fault, because you should do the research before you sign up and pay for a course like that too. That's part of your responsibility, and things you can do is, if you've got no info on this instructor or class or course that you're taking and you're just doing it, willy-nilly, and then you get there and you're unhappy with it, that's your own fault. because you should have done the research and the legwork.
Yep.
Ask other people who've taken the course, see if there's a website that these people have, see if there's what's that Yelp page, if there's like, complaints or something. I don't ever look at Yelp, but
Yelp for instructors.
Yeah, Yelp for instructors.
When I was in nuclear, I was an instructor for a couple of years, and we found out that in order to be a good instructor, you're gonna have to deal with people that don't understand what you're telling them. So you got to be able to take whatever you're doing and be able to show it or to demonstrate it, to teach it about 5 different ways. Because if one thing doesn't work, you try a different way to show them how it's done. If that doesn't work, you should have something else in your back pocket. They'll say, okay, this will get this concept across. But a real good instructor and a good shooter is not a good instructor all the time. And it's separate skill sets.
Not all instructors are created equal.
Yeah.
And everybody, like I said, I've taken courses from hundreds of different instructors over the years. And although some of them, I thought I didn't agree with the stuff that they were doing. I can't think of one course or class or, from all the instructors that I didn't learn something from.
Yep.
Right.
Whether it was, I don't ever want to do that, or that's actually going to come into play with how I shoot and the reasons why I am armed.
Well, that was one of the things, like I said earlier, when I started this, I told Brent at least a couple of times a year, you and I are either together or separately are going to go to other instructors' courses. And I guarantee you we learn something good or bad, whether it's I'm going to use that or I am going to tell people not to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still knowledge. You're still learning one way or the other.
Yeah. It's still important.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
I went to a course in gunsight, and the instructor was so good that everything out of his mouth was such a nugget. I was stunned. It was like, wow. And then a few minutes later, you say something else. I'm like, wow, really insightful stuff. It was like, the literally the light bulb that goes off over the head of a student.
Yeah.
I mean, I was sitting there looking like a flashbulb because it was like everything this person was saying was like, wow, that's really deep.
It's one of those classes you take really good notes on.
Yeah. And it was like, wow. I was like, damn, this is great. And that's the kind of course you walk out of, you're like, wow, I got so much to remember.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
And that's one of those things as an instructor is paying attention to your students and how they are reacting like that. Hey, is this connecting? Is this getting through? If not, like you said, okay, let's find another way to represent this to maybe get it click.
Yeah. Let me throw this out there. So some red flags maybe that you could look for. We've gone over a couple there. If you're seeing unsafe practices, overcrowded classes, hyped up commando courses, again, that gets into the research. Look at the reviews, look at X, look at their Instagram, look at YouTube. A lot of these people will probably have YouTube channels. Ask for their credentials. Ask what their background is. Why do you think you're qualified to be an instructor? Don't be afraid to ask those questions. And if somebody gets offended because you ask those questions, there's your answer right there.
Right.
Don't take that course. Don't take that class.
Either no one's ever asked them that, or they just are too proud to answer.
Yeah. I mean, because ammo's too fucking expensive to waste.
Oh yeah.
Shitty class.
Yep.
But I tell you that instructors that know how to really do good instruction make a difference between if a person takes more training or not. I was taking a class. It was with the vehicle class, vehicle defense class, and it was being run by Boone and Tonto, Chris Paronto. And Chris Paronto is known for being really, really hyper. I mean, you saw him in the movie, and he runs around. He's really, really good. And so he was my partner in this course where we started with a SUV sideways to the range. And so you had a carbine, and you shot through the window. You got out into the rear of the vehicle, and you shot 6 rounds in either the front of the window or front of the SUV, and you changed shoulders, and you shot next to the hood. And then there's some more later. But so I was in the car, shot through the window, went to the rear, shot 6 times, went to the front, and I didn't secure the AR to my shoulder. And so I got a double feed. And so, okay, that was my own fault because I didn't shoulder it stiff enough.
Like
I was in a hurry.
Lip wrist and a pistol.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it was like, oh, my own fault. And so the gun was jammed. It's a double feed, so it's like a kiss of death. That's not something that you can just get rid of quickly. And so instead of yelling at me, like I've seen a lot of instructors do, Claire, get back up. Tonto was there. He leaned over the hood and actually was engaging the targets, shooting as he was talking to me. He says, okay, what do you need? What you got? I said, I got a double feed. He goes, you got a knife to clear it? I said, yeah. He goes, well, take mine. He takes out his knife, thunk, throws on the ground next to me, blade first. I'm take this knife. I clear out the double feed, get the jam undone, and then I'm up, and then he pulls back, and I just continue on with the course. I thought,
did you take cover?
Brilliant. What's that?
Did you take cover while you were doing that, or did you?
Yeah, I was behind the wheel of the car, but he was just instructing the whole way. He wasn't screaming, wasn't yelling. He was supportive and informative. I thought, motherfucker, that is a good instructor.
Yeah,
and it motivated me, and it was like, damn,
well, again, it depends on what you're getting trained for. Also, a lot of them will yell and scream because the stress level, you're
you're trying to do sensory overload, and I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
Which is
something else to look for as a red flag that I've seen in courses.
Yeah.
If you have an instructor that is putting more rounds down range than you are as a student, there's an issue. That's not an instructor. That's somebody who's there to boast on themselves and show off what they know.
Yep. If it's more than a demonstration, it's too much.
Yeah. Big red flag.
Now, I have had instructors that would break from the instruction and have like friendly competition shoots with.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like that.
I mean, we even did that at the Modern Samurai course at the end.
Yeah.
But during the class, nah.
No, not
we done that at the end of our course when you was out there. Like we was taking 9mm casings and putting in the actual.
You're like, I'll break out the guns that you want to have fun with.
Right. Or getting out at the end and hey, let's shoot the primers out of these casings and work on our fundamentals.
Yeah. What did y'all think about that Smith & Wesson bullpup? Did y'all shoot?
Cool. That's the first time I ever shot one. That was cool. Not really sure it's my thing, but it's really cool.
I mean, the recoil on it was very manageable. It was soft for a 12 gauge to be a bullpup. Right.
So
there.
I used to run one of the Keltec models on the TAC team. And honestly, as far as the ergonomics and the controls and stuff, I like the Smith & Wesson better.
I do too. Yeah, I do too.
It was a lot more user friendly.
Yep. You got the
a little bit softer recoil
switch right there at your thumb or it's ambi. So
yeah, instead of having to switch back,
flip it over or reach up underneath and
exactly
flip the switch. Kind of.
It was cool. I like the
action. I noticed with the dual bar action on it too. It's a lot smoother cycling.
Yeah. I thought that too, but yeah, it was fun to shoot.
Not to change the subject there, fellas, but I just got a email from Bear Creek.
Okay.
The 308 has shipped.
Yes, sweet.
Oh yeah.
It's official.
Yep.
Nice.
Let's see if I got a response from Bear Creek.
Oh, now we got to rip the guts out of it and make it our own.
Look, I got a response from BCA also.
I'm sure you did about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, 2:45 to 8 minutes ago.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'll talk to you guys about that off air.
Cool.
So there we go. Well, good deal. So let's go to the next thing that I wanted to talk about. We were kind of talking about red flags. You guys have any more red flags? Something that, as a student, that if you see this, you should probably be weary. I think we covered most of them, didn't we?
The ones I could think of, the only other one that comes to mind is I know there's a lot of combat veteran instructors, but getting too hung up on war stories and what they've done in the past. That's not. I don't think that entirely pertains to instruction of a carry permit class or a pistol fundamentals class or whatever.
Yeah. So let's talk about some gear that our listeners, that's going to help them in their training. Whether it's a quality holster, some of these training aids that you can shoot from home, to work on your trigger control, your grip, laser trainers, that type of stuff, timers. What do you guys want to throw out there as some good training gear and equipment and aids for our listeners?
Exactly what Andre was holding up. I've got one right next to me here too. The Mantis system.
Yeah, they're a sponsor of ours, and we're so pleased with that.
We're hooked up with them too, and that's been really good. But a Mantis system and a timer.
Yeah.
If you can dry fire at your house, you don't need to go to the range. Spend a little money on the Mantis. Spend a little money on a timer. It'll change your world for sure.
Yeah. What do you feel? How do you feel about Air guns.
Air guns? Yeah, I mean, we've used airsoft stuff at the range for room clearing instruction.
Yeah. What about like around the house for your training and because these things are more and more realistic.
Yep.
This right here looks and feels just like a P365.
And a lot of times they're a cheaper option than a laser trainer or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
you're not going to get a recoil or anything like that, but you can still, your form, your grip, trigger control.
Yeah.
You can still work on all that.
Especially getting into the realm of firearms retention and using the empty hand skills with firearms. Of course, where I teach a lot of hand-to-hand combat martial arts, I incorporate a lot of the air guns and the airsoft weapons into that because it's just a great utilized training tool with the way that it cycles and getting that pop of air. You're getting some kind of kinetic feedback.
Yeah.
Now there's I saw an article the other day. I don't know if it was real or not, that they're allowing civilians to use simunition now.
So the ATF has apparently changed their restriction on simunition and FX rounds from strictly military law enforcement to the civilian sector.
Yeah. So
there's a few ranges around here that have adopted them.
Yep.
Yeah, I know Royal Range. You can go to Royal Range and they got that little room, the walls shift, and you can do CQB type stuff.
They're modular shoot house.
Modular shoot.
I think the Glock store has one too.
They might. I've not been to that yet.
I haven't either. That's why I was kind of skeptical about it. But I want to say I heard somebody talking about their indoor shooting complex. It's like 270-degree range, and they were doing force-on-force shoot houses.
Yeah. Now these Oculus things that you can put over and you can get submerged into the virtual world. Have you guys done that yet?
I mean, not my hands on one yet.
I've done a couple of different models. I'm sure Andre has too. They're always somebody's got something set up at SHOT Show or NRA or something like that, and there's some really realistic.
Oh yeah, but the key for all that stuff, including paintball and simunition, is make sure it doesn't get into like a gaming thing.
Right.
And I've been in some instruction where they're using simunition, and it turns into like advanced paintball. So you've got to really, as instructors, you've got to make sure people don't start gaming the issue. I mean, simunition is great because it lets you know real quick when you made a mistake, and it's tremendously effective like that. And it's also really good for weeding out people. This is one thing law enforcement is figuring out, is that not everybody on the street that wants to be a law enforcement officer needs to be there, because they don't understand that if they get in a gunfight, they've got to shoot back and shoot to kill. And it's not like an option. If you don't do that, then you or somebody else or your partner is going to die. And I was at a simunition exercise, force on force, with a police agency where there was we were shooting out in a school that they let us borrow, and there was a female officer who got hit by simunition, and she literally put down her pistol and quit the department on the spot. I'm like, that's a great
it's not for everybody,
because that way nobody got hurt. You learn something.
That's the only way that you're really going to know whether. That's the only way you're ever going to know.
You don't really know.
Carrying a firearm is really for you. Is you got to go and you got to take one of these courses, and you may find out, just like that police officer that Andre was talking about there, that you don't want that responsibility. It's too much responsibility for you.
Yeah,
and that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah. I've talked to agencies and asked them specifically the question: what do you do? What's your protocol for an active shooter? And you're the first person on the scene. And don't tell me that you're going to sit there and barricade the area, create a perimeter, and wait for SWAT to show up, because that way people are getting killed in inside. And so what you want to hear is that, okay, the only time I'll take is getting a vest and a rifle out of the trunk, and then you advance to contact and stop the shooter. If it means the shooter shooting you instead of the kids, all right, that's what you get paid for. But try to get these people to understand that okay, if it's a situation where there's an active shooter, you have to go out and basically put yourself out there to stop him. And there's really not another option.
Mm-hmm.
Locate, isolate, engage.
Yeah. Push to contact and get them to shoot at you, if nothing else. And I know every single person here would do that. But you find some cops are like, oh no, I need to go ahead and wait for the SWAT team to show up.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and it even goes into the concealed, like Lefty was saying, with the responsibility, even just on the civilian concealed carry sector side. That's one of the first things that I ask people that wants to come and take a concealed carry is, one, are you willing to use your weapon if it comes down to it? Two,
Right.
Are you okay with accepting the legal, mental, spiritual repercussions, moral repercussions that's going to come with it if you have to? Can you handle that? If
Right.
not, then you don't have any business carrying.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. So let's do this. We're getting long in the tooth here, and I want to make sure that we cover all the points that everybody wants to cover. So let's start wrapping up. So anything that we've missed that you think our listeners need to be aware of, to get good training, what do they need to look for? What do they need to do? How do they get it?
Let me, you talk about dry fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Listen to this. Dry shooting, or in other words, aiming and snapping the arm without ammunition, is very beneficial to the target shooter and is practiced by nearly everyone who shoots. That was written 100 years ago.
What's the
This
book?
is a book on shooting by Fitzgerald, who
Hold it
was
up.
the one who made what's called the Fitz Special. You guys heard about that?
Yeah.
They took pistols and basically made them the first tactical pistols around.
Hold it up.
And he made a book that it's 100 years old. It was published 1930, and he was writing it for several years before that. So this book's 100 freaking years old, and there's so many nuggets in here that you think that, oh no, all this stuff is brand new. We're doing no, all the fundamentals go back 100 freaking years, and it's just phenomenal. And all the stuff we're talking about, they were talking about back in 1930 about everything from, oh my God, the cops are so undergunned, and we have to go ahead and make sure you use the right caliber for the job, and small caliber guns are for small caliber people. I mean, all that stuff was discussed way back then.
Yeah.
I thought it was
technology.
Don't shoot a large caliber man with a small
caliber weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just amazing. So all the stuff that we're figuring out now, been there, and it's just amazing. And whenever it comes to ballistics, same way people come out with, a new 6mm. Well, it's not really new,
but it's up to us to continue passing it down.
Yes.
Generation to generation.
And valuable guys like Danny and Brett that teach. You guys are worth your weight in gold. You really are, because that's what we need is you guys out there making sure that people are doing it right. So my hat's off to you. You guys are the best. So
it took a lot to get where we are now, and not only all the courses and training and time we put into it, but just the confidence to put what you have out there for other people, and hopefully they'll accept it for the knowledge that it is that you got from all these other great instructors.
Oh yeah. Well, that as an instructor, the hour you teach in front of the class is nothing compared to the 5 or 6 hours you put in to prepare yourself for that short period of time.
Right.
And people understand that instructor, you don't start working. It's when you walk in the classroom or walk in front of a bunch of people. You start hours and days and weeks ahead of time getting ready to so when you walk up there, it looks easy, because it's not. Being an instructor is not easy. It's performance art. When you get up there, like you said, you've got to look at the class. You've got to read the room. You got to realize, wait a second, these guys are drifting off, or they're checking their phones, or they're looking on the computer. All right, let's take a break and do something, come back, or you get them up and do some kind of exercise. But you've got to read the room and understand that, okay, if they're not paying attention, what am I doing wrong? Is it the curricula? Am I boring? Am I telling too many freaking war stories in the classes drifting away? So you guys know all that, and it's an art form. It's performance art.
Yeah.
When you get up in front of a class of students, no matter where it is, if it's on the range or in a classroom, you're performing. You're out there doing it, and it's tough to do.
Our biggest thing is always class engagement and practical exercise. If I can keep you listening for the 3, 4, 5, 6 hours I have you, awesome. If I can teach you something to make sense to you as to why you would potentially use it, even better.
Absolutely.
So final thought. We're going to wrap this up. So final nuggets of wisdom to our listeners.
Do your research. If you plan on taking a course, going to a new company, going to train, going to a new range, buying a new gun, whatever, do your research. Find somebody that's been to that course, that range, whatever, read the reviews, or come to Warhorse and you won't have to worry about it.
Also, knowing your purpose, and that was a really good point that you made, Lefty, is what type of training am I seeking specifically for this course that I'm looking for? Mm-hmm. Go into it with, hey, I'm wanting to work on my speed, and I'm wanting to work on my accuracy. So I'm going to do a competitive training course. I'm wanting to work under shooting under stress and tactical applications. I'm going to do a defensive course. Know that before you come in, and when you go to look and search for the instructors and search for classes, make sure that type of criteria is within that class syllabus. Because if it's not, then it's probably not going to be what you're looking for, and you're going to be disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're going to waste your pew-pews and your greenbacks, definitely. Andre?
Well, I tell you that if you're a shooter, you need to train. That's just the bottom line. And if you're a shooter, if you're a collector, it's one thing. But if you think you're a shooter, if you carry concealed, you need to train. You need to have a fully understanding, because even though maybe you took a concealed carry course a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, things have changed. You need to go ahead and take a modern course this week, because things are changing. I mean, the laws are changing. It used to be that concealed carry course was mostly about shooting in the gun. Now, I swear, half the course is talking about shoot, don't shoot. What's the reason for it? What's the legalities behind it? What's a mindset? And like you said, you have to understand that if you have the ability, or the ability to shoot, doesn't mean that you will shoot under stress or under threat. If you can shoot at somebody, you need to know that. If you can't shoot at somebody, you really need to know that. That's where these guys that say, "Oh, I just bought my girlfriend a gun." Really? What is that going to do? It's like you give a gun to somebody who doesn't know how to use it. That's just asking for trouble, especially if they have no intent on using it. And I've talked to some cops. So this is scary. Talked to some cops, and they told me privately, "I never intend to shoot my gun." Oh, really?
The only thing you've done is added a weapon to a more dangerous situation.
Maybe they don't ever want to shoot their gun,
right?
But I mean, I get that, but
yeah,
I don't intend to means you're actively resisting using your tools, Aaron. That's not,
ultra.
One more thing to add on that is, like, especially with defensive courses, if you are looking at a defensive course and it is not including some type of movement in shooting, some type of retention shooting, some type of mechanics of reload, and some type of mechanics on how to clear malfunctions, it is not a good course.
Right.
Those are absolute fundamentals on defensive shooting, because that is things you are going to run into, and it needs to be covered, even on the most basic level.
True.
Very cool. So basically, what it all boils down to, if you want to get good training and how to know if you're getting good training, it ultimately falls back to you and your 100%. Research that you do, your goals. Safety is king, when it comes to firearms training, and never stop practicing. That's my little golden nuggets that I'm throwing out there to you lead heads. And you've heard me preach about it for 13 years, and it doesn't change. The drills, there are all kinds of drills, and we've covered this in other shows. But some things that you can do on your own. How do I say that? There's a blue bazillion different places that you can go out and get that information. We're kind of out of time now, so I don't really want to get into that right now. But I want to thank our guests for taking the time to be on. Danny, Brent, really appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, we're going to be doing more with them coming up in the near future. Andre, it's always a pleasure having you on, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here, and I'm honored to be here with Brett and Danny. They're great guys, and God bless you.
You are endless source of information and knowledge. And,
same to you, sir. We appreciate you so much, and the knowledge that you've shared and continue to share.
And we're going to be doing more with Andre coming up as well. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, as I said earlier, make sure you go to Tactical RX and use that discount code TL20. You're going to get 20% off the prescription, non-prescription, any of their eyewear there. So that's a pretty good savings that you guys are going to get from Tactical RX. Good buddy Brent. And then the giveaway that we're going to be doing with them, I'll give you more information on episodes to come. So those are going to be good giveaways. Plus, we're going to have other giveaways from other of our sponsors, friends of the show. We're going to continue to do those. The discount codes, Mission First Tactical, Go there, use that code 20% off. You know, they've been offering that to you guys for years. Unless they run like a Black Friday special or something like that, you're not going to get any better deal on Mission First Tactical gear and products. And it works on even their sale items, I'm pretty sure. So that's even sweeter. So go to Mission First Tactical, check them out, support them. Seal One for all your gun cleaning and gun protection needs. Seal One's got you covered. They got their aerosol back in stock now. So go to their website, seal1.com, use that code LEADHEAD, and you get 25% off from Seal One. Again, our sponsors are offering you these big discounts that you're not going to get unless maybe they do like a Black Friday sale, you know, like I said. But you can use this every single day. There's no limit on how much you can purchase. You can use it once, you can use it twice. You can come back a week from now, a year from now, and use it again. So take advantage of that, and then help sponsor the show, support the show, and buy our swag from 9-3 Tactical. I'm going to pull it up here. Got it right here. Boom, boom. Got the license plates, got the leadies, got the patches. We're going to have some bigger leadies coming too. He's going to have those. You can get the AK Corner logo. You can get our TL logo on there. We've got a Leadhead Brigade patch. If you want like one of these other logos like on the leadies or the license plate, he can do that too. So he can kind of custom do them the way you want them. But just shoot him a message on the grams. If you're on the grams, it's at NINETHREE tactical dot or not .com when you're doing that kind of stuff. It's just at 9-3 tactical, or email me talkingled@gmail.com, and we can get you this swag. So the more you buy, the more we're going to diversify and bring out other products too. So if these aren't selling, then, you know, we're not going to do anything else. But if you guys are buying these, you like them, we'll start doing other type products like this, and you can support us that way, and we appreciate it. So that's all I got. Again, thanks to everybody for being on. Appreciate you guys. And Warhorse Ballistics, you can go to their website. It's warhorseballistics.com. And you guys are on the grams and all that too, right?
We are on the YouTubes and the Facebooks right now. Once I get the grams figured out, we'll be on there too.
Okay.
Yep, also on our webpage there, if you go to the store, we've got some merch to sell as well. T-shirts, hats, etc. It's directly on the webpage. Danny, do you want to plug our sponsors and their discount codes?
We've got Bravo Concealment and O-Sight right now. Bravo Concealment, if you want to get 10% off, use Warhorse 10. And O-Sight, I believe it's 10% off, is Warhorse 2025.
Okay. And if they want to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you? Go to the website? You got to
go to the website or hit me directly on the email at warhorseballistics@gmail.com.
Very cool. And Andre, you got any articles, blogs, anything like that coming out soon?
Yeah, I've got a few things, and I think I'm headed up to Hillsdale College for there's a college competition that I was just talking to Texas A&M today about going up there and supporting them at Hillsdale, which is a very good conservative college. And I would like to go ahead and give as much as I can as far as putting some ink on them, because they deserve it. And it's apparently a really good college competition. And Hillsdale is beginning to really be getting a really good shooting team. So they'll be going up against Texas A&M, which has got a tremendous shooting team. And they may actually be shooting against teams like West Point, the Annapolis team. So it's going to be significant. So that should be fun. I need to look into that. So I'll be checking that out and probably headed over to Hillsdale to do that soon.
Okay. And then Disavowed Group has also extended a discount on their suppressors to you lead heads. And what you have to do is you actually have to email them, because I don't think they sell direct, but if you let them know, then they are going to give you and he just sent this to me today, I think it's 15%. Let me see. Hey guys, it's Ethan at disavowedgroup.com, and it is 15% off. So give Ethan an email, ethan@disavowedgroup.com, 15% off. There you go. Enjoy. Anyway, just go to Disavowed. You can PM them on the grams. You can go to their website, disavowedgroup.com, and they've got a discount for you. I should have looked this up sooner. But anyway, I can't find it. Right, it's somewhere in these texts. But I think it was like 15%. But which is it's hell of a savings right there. So
Yeah.
I think cool suppressors. We had them on the show not too long ago, so you can go back and listen to that episode. Tell you all about their company. But good group of guys. So Leadheads. Until the next episode, as always, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer.
Look at Danny.
Did I do it?
You nailed it.
I remembered.
Brother. Yeah. Very good. All right, we are out. And Leadheads, please, please, please support the show. Buy the patches, buy our leadies, buy our merch that we have when it's available. Contact at 93tactical or email me, talkinglead@gmail.com. We need your support. Thank you.